that you can learn if you are wanting to grow your business, and if you want to understand what are the skills that millionaires create, or what are the skills that are required to make 6 figures, 7 figures as an entrepreneur. We're going to be looking at that today, because when you look at money, money is the result of value that's added to the marketplace. And the way that you add value is by solving problems. But how do you solve problems? It's with skill. When you look at every business, every product, any transaction that is taking place in the marketplace, that is because there is a problem that is created, and that problem creates an opportunity to solve it. But in order to solve problems, it requires skill. What are the skills that are going to create a high income as a result? That's what we're going to be looking at today. And I would submit to you that a high income skill is infinitely more valuable than a high income job, because you can have a high income job, and there is a lot of misconceptions about like job security, and people are thinking like, well, entrepreneurship is kind of sketchy or risky or difficult because I like the security of my job. But we found during COVID that it really doesn't matter what kind of job or position or how long you've been with a company. They're laying people off by the thousands, and millions of people are finding themselves unemployed, where people who could have had high income jobs are now struggling financially, and really often in a place that they wouldn't imagine themselves to be. So we realize that like the whole job security is a myth. It doesn't exist. If you want real security, I believe that real security is going to be found in learning high income skills. Because when you learn the skills that are necessary to produce income as a result, then you're going to find that no government can take those skills away from you. No divorce will strip you away from these skills. When you learn these skills, no economic downturn or economic depression, there's nothing that can take the skills away. Once you learn those high income skills, you're going to be able to produce a result for people who would be happy to pay you for it in any economy. You basically are learning by learning these skills that I'm going to share with you, you're learning how to recession-proof your family, to create a financial fortress around your family, to fortify your future with the right skill set. And you're going to notice that there's a difference between, there are habits and skills that poor people learn and that they focus on and they obsess on and they get the results of. But there are skills that wealthy people learn, and as you obsess on these skills, then as you start to learn these skills, it starts producing, solving valuable problems for other people, and people are passionate about paying you for it. These are the skills. Many of these skills are the skills that have helped my family business to be making $10,000 a month in my early 20s. And when you learn these skills, you're able to also produce financial results that you're looking for. And so what I want to do is I want you, as I share these 7 skills, there's going to be 7 of them that I'm going to share with you. I want you to rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 meaning that you have no idea how to do them. You have not learned it. You haven't been studying. You haven't been learning. Like, you don't have the skill. 10 is that you have mastered the skill. And 10 is like you have an ability to execute on this skill effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. That's what I mean by mastery. So put yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. Where are you? So number 1 is a skill of public speaking. Public speaking is one of the most highly paid professions that exists in the marketplace, that exists, period. In fact, Warren Buffett, multi-billionaire, used to be the world's richest man on the planet for many years, uncontested. He's asked often in these interviews, as people interview him, they're like, so what is your favorite achievement? Or what is the one skill, the one thing that people can learn? If someone was starting from scratch, what is the one skill that you would suggest that they learn? And Warren Buffett always answers the same way. He says, the thing that I'm most excited about in my achievement, or the one skill that has paid me more than any other skills, and the dude's a multi-billionaire, is he says, it was a Dale Carnegie course that I took on public speaking. I still have the certification hanging in my personal office. I see that. So if there's one skill that you can learn, it's learning how to communicate to crowds, learning how to share a message that is able to move the masses. Because there's something that really special that happens is if you want to, it's interesting, Jesus says that who is going to be the greatest, let him become the servant of all. So the way to, the path of greatness is through the service of many. So the more people you're able to serve, the more great you're able to, the more great of a business you could build, a brand that you could build, your bank account that you could build. If you want a great bank account, you have to serve a great multitude of people. And one of the best ways to do that is through public speaking. In fact, Zig Ziglar once said that you can have anything that you want in life if you help enough people to get what they want in life. And there's two ways to serve people. Is you can serve people one-on-one, or you can serve people one-to-many. And when you're serving people one-on-one, and if that's the only thing that you're doing, that's going to restrict you in a very large way of who you're able to help and who you're able to serve. And I'm not saying don't do one-on-one, but that is, if that's the only thing that you're doing, it's going to limit your ability to scale your impact, your income, to be able to serve others. But learning how to speak to multitudes, to share one to many, then you're able to tap into unlimited potential. And when I'm saying public speaking, I'm talking about speaking to audiences of, speaking on platforms, whether online platforms or offline platforms, where you are able to speak to an audience that is your dream audience, your ideal customer, or these dream clients, that the entire audience is filled with people who represents the perfect person that you can help serve, and you can solve their problems for a price. And public speaking is a skill, a high income skill, that as you learn to master the communication of crowds, it will allow you to scale up the impact that you can have in the marketplace. That's number one. So what are you on a scale from 1 to 10? What is your public speaking skills? And I'll tell you that it's not just for people that are extroverts. Like for me, I had a stuttering problem when I was younger. I wasn't always comfortable speaking in front. I remember the first several times that I spoke, I was terrified of of speaking to others, and it was so difficult. It was embarrassing, and I had no idea what I was doing. But learning how to speak to audiences has opened the doors for me to be able to travel the world, to meet the leaders who I otherwise wouldn't, to create strategic partnerships with people, and has been able to make me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's with speaking, using the mouth to move the multitudes. There's no limit to the impact that you can have when you learn to speak in public. So I remember the first time, I was 17 years old, the first time I got paid for a speech. As I was speaking, I had a mentor of mine who taught me, who was helping me to get into speaking. And he invited me to speak at an event he was hosting. He paid me $50. I was 17 years old. And I was like, what is this for? He's like, well, all the other speakers at the event, we paid for their travel here. We covered their food, their housing while they're here, and we give them an extra. They call it in the speaking world an honorarium. So we give them extra money to be able to take care, because they got families to take care of, and this is what they do for a living. And I was like, wait, what? Because it's like a light bulb went on. I was like, wait, you mean I could use my mouth to be able to impact people's lives, to share trainings that transform, and I can get paid even to the point that these people are able to feed their entire families? I'm like, that's a thing? And that's when I realized, like, I'm going to figure out how to be able to speak, how to be able to communicate to others and make a difference in people's lives. And I knew, like, this is what I'm going to do. So for the last 10 years, I've been a professional speaker traveling around the nation and speaking at different events and seeing people's lives transformed. And it's really amazing when you have people in the audience come up to you and they're like, hey, I watch your videos, and they've been so helpful, and they're able to explain how they shared it with their family or it's transformed their family. And I'm like, wow, this is such an incredible feeling and such an incredible opportunity to serve people in ways that, like, you can't now imagine. So it's worth sharing. It's worth getting good at. People look at me and they're like, oh, Enoch, you're just you're naturally gifted. And if you really knew where I started and how, if you saw me when I was stuttering, if you saw me when I was tripping over my words, if you saw me when I had no idea how to create an outline or speak to audiences, so I literally just copied and transcribed someone else's message and just like shared my first presentation was intense. If you saw me when I didn't know how to close early, then you would be like, wow, this kid, there's some people who have a gift and some people who don't. Enoch, you're someone who doesn't have that gift. Maybe you should find a different career path. And but the truth of the matter is, I had no natural ability. I had to learn. But you too could have a natural gift if you, after you give 3,000 presentations, then eventually you'll start becoming better and better as well. So I encourage you that public speaking is a skill that you can strengthen. It's like a muscle that you can strengthen, a skill you can develop. All things are figure outable. And when you learn to speak to the multitudes, you'll be able to multiply your income, multiply your impact, multiply your influence. So number one is public speaking is a high income skill. Number two is strategic partnerships. Why strategic partnerships? Because, and what I mean by strategic partnerships is this: there's no such thing as self-made millionaires, only team-made millionaires. That you are going to, if you want to make a difference, if you want to build a business that lasts, if you want to build something substantial, then you can't do it alone. Business is a team sport. Business requires partnering with people. So there's team members that you're going to have to learn, or there's people that you're going to put on your team. There are strategic partners. Those are people who already have audiences that you're able to partner with. If you have an offer, they have an audience. Many people who have audiences have no idea how to turn that attention into income. So by you being able to say, hey, I've got an offer. If you have an audience, if I present my offer to your audience, we can split 50-50, and we have these joint ventures or make a strategic partnership, many people would say yes. And you're able to create so much more with that than without. In fact, Russell Brunson, who is the co-founder of ClickFunnels, who built $1 billion brand, making $300 million a year, in the software company, he mentioned that this concept of strategic partnerships, some people call it Dream 100, some people call it affiliate, some people call it a variety of things, but he said that the strategic partnerships is what he built to the foundation of his entire company. So when you realize, and also about 70% of his revenue comes from strategic partnerships, and only about 30% comes from advertising. So it's really amazing when you think about this, the income potential of strategic partnerships, finding people who you are able to create win-win situations for and be able to thrive together. It's really an incredible skill that when you learn this, doors will open for your business, for your life, for your family, for your opportunities. And it is a skill that you can learn. And there's a big difference between how poor people think and wealthy people think. See, poor people are like, why would I want to, like, for instance, I had a mentor that had a broken phone. His screen was cracked, and he's like, well, I could go to the store, pay this guy at the repair shop $50, or I can go online and I can go look up how to fix it myself. And this whole do-it-yourself kind of mentality where it's like, well, I'd rather save money and spend time. So he ends up going on YouTube, watching several hours, trying to figure out how to tinker with his screen. Then he took him a while to figure it out. Then he kind of plastered it on a little broken or different. But by the end, he spent 5 hours plus trying to fix the phone, and so he could save $50. And he was happy. He's like, well, I got the better deal out of it. But the thing is, that was you have to avoid minimum wage responsibilities. That is if you spend 5 hours to save $50, that means that you're working for about $10 an hour. And if you look at, if as an entrepreneur, there are things that you can do that could make far more than $10 an hour. In fact, just with public speaking, there was one speech that I did on this YouTube channel where I had an offer, they had an audience, and I spoke to them. And just from 1 hour of speaking, I was able to track about $3,000 of sales came from that one speech. So why would I want to spend my time trying to fix my phone when saving $10 an hour when I could make $3,000 an hour in speaking from stages and with strategic partnerships on other people's platforms? It don't make no sense. So that's a difference where wealthy people believe in strategic partnerships. They're like, why would I want to spend my time to save money? Where poor people think, why would I want to spend money when I can save money and spend their time? There's a big difference. This whole idea of doing it yourself or doing everything by yourself or thinking that you don't need people, this is a broke mentality that is going to break your business, break your income, break your opportunities. So instead, find strategic partnerships who do better at the things that you're not good at, and where you do better at things that they're not good at, and create transactions where things are able to create win-win situations. And you will find that this is a high-income skill in crafting strategic partnerships, in making or networking on purpose, finding people who you can have win-win opportunities with. And then the third skill is the skill of selling. And what I mean by selling is this is your ability. On a scale from 1 to 10, what is your ability to ask questions in a way that helps lead people to a decision? Your ability to be able to paint pictures in people's minds and their perceptions, to see what their life could be like when they take advantage of your offer, your product, your program, your service. How is your ability to be able to empathize with the person you're speaking to? If you help them to understand that you understand them. Not that they understand you, but that you understand them. Your ability to speak so well about their problem in the language that they understand, that when they hear it, they're like, this person understands my problem better than I know my problem. So this person must have the solution to my problem. And they're willing to pull out their card, and they're willing to pay from you. Now, I want you to really think about this. Sometimes, I want you to stop and think, what are your views about selling? When you think about salespeople, what's the first thing that pops up into your mind? Is it the sleazy car salesman? Is it the guy who's taking advantage of someone? Is it thinking do you feel uncomfortable? When you think of yourself as selling, what are the things that come to mind? Do you get excited, or do you have you feel like you want to take a few more steps back? Do you feel that when you think of yourself as selling, do you think of yourself as I am influential, or do you think do you feel icky at the thought of yourself selling to others? Because here's the reality. Most people think that they don't like selling, but in reality, what they really don't like is convincing. See, selling is not convincing. Selling is the opposite of convincing. Now, what is convincing? Convincing is getting people to buy what they don't want, don't need, can't afford, and for your reasons. And that is that is icky. That makes people feel gross. That's what people think selling is. But in reality, selling is the opposite of convincing. Selling is persuasion. Selling is persuading people to buy what is in their best interest for their reasons. And that is the difference between selling and convincing. Many people who suck at selling, the reason why people are so bad at selling, the reason why people they think they hate selling, but they really hate convincing, is because convincing is the thing that you have to resort to if you don't learn how to sell and how to sell well. Because if you know how to sell, then you will never need to convince another person, prospect, family member, whoever, ever again in your life. Because convincing is what not to do. Selling, on the other hand, selling is honorable. Selling is one of the most honorable professions that exist in the marketplace. In fact, it's so interesting that Proverbs chapter 31, it talks like God himself in Proverbs talks about this virtuous woman. And it talks about this woman who it says in Proverbs 31:24 that it's like a description of the ideal wife in the eyes of the Lord. It says, she maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. It says that she's not giving away her fine linen, her products, she's selling it. It says in verse 18, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. So she has a strong belief, a conviction in the merchandise that she's selling. And merchandise is things that you trade for money, that you're selling. So the virtuous woman in Proverbs 31, she is a saleswoman. She is a communicator. It says that she does business. Verse 14, she is like the merchant ships, and she bringeth her food from afar. She does business with other countries. She does business with other businesses. She has strategic partnerships that she is working with. And you see that, like, selling is virtuous. Selling is virtuous. And if you think that selling is sleazy, then you're going to, even subconsciously, if these are limiting beliefs that you have, then it's like, then there is some gross misunderstandings of how money actually comes into existence. There's gross misunderstandings of how business actually serves and blesses people. When you realize that all business is solving a problem, that means that people have problems before they come in contact with your solution, before they come in contact with your business, your offer, your opportunity, what you have something of value that is able to transform someone's life. And if you really believe that what you have can help someone, then Proverbs 11:26 says you have a moral obligation to sell your solution to as many people as possible, as fast as you can. It says, he that withholdeth the corn, the people shall curse him, but blessings shall be upon the head of him that selleth it. It doesn't say give it away, it's him that sells it. So selling is a good idea because selling is a God idea. In fact, I want you to realize this. If you can think of the money that you have, think about the money. Well, take a moment and think, what is the best things that you've ever bought with money before? Was it an experience with someone that you care about, maybe a spouse or a child? Was it a vacation that you went to that is unforgettable, that you'll never forget? You paid money for the ticket, you paid money for the hotel for the food? Was it a gift that you were able to give someone that really made them happy? Think about something that you were able to buy, something that you spent money on that you were that you're really glad that you had that. Maybe the options that it created for you, maybe the time that you were able to get back. Think about how money is something, think about what is something that you spent money on that you're really, really happy about. And let me know in the comments, write down what was it that you spent money on that you really enjoyed, that you're glad that you had that money to spend. So as you're thinking about this, I want you to realize that the only reason why you have money is because some salespeople in the marketplace, that literally every dollar that you have is because someone sold something to someone for a profit, period. And what do I mean by that? You might be like, well, that's not true. I work as a secretary. Mine isn't involved with business. Well, the only reason why a secretary receives a paycheck from a business, from an employment, is because that business has salespeople who are selling the services and product of that business. And because that business has salespeople, all the money that ever flows into that business flows there because of salespeople doing their virtuous job. And that's why every employee, every non-sale, like every business, every job that is not directly related to sales is related to sales directly. Because without salespeople in that business, that job would have zero paychecks, zero money to give the paycheck, and everything that you're able to provide for your family. And then some of you will be like, well, that's not true. I work for the government. So the government isn't selling things to people. The government's not allowed to sell things. Well, the only reason why the government has money to pay their employees is because there are salespeople in the marketplace who are bringing money into a business, and then the government comes and steals that money from the business owners and then takes it and then gives it to their employees. So even government employees are paid, every dollar a government employee receives is because salespeople sold something to someone for a profit. I want you to know that every dollar ever spent on a gift, every donation ever given to charity, every dollar that ever goes to ministry, it's because salespeople in the marketplace. Salespeople are the heartbeats, are the lifeblood, the heart of the economy. They're what helps to keep things in circulation. Transactions don't happen without salespeople or marketers, people who are able to communicate in a way that helps people want to buy. So when you realize that if you hate selling, you are going to remain on the financial struggle bus for much longer until you overcome the limiting beliefs that you have about persuasion, until you learn to distance your definition from selling and convincing, because they're two total opposites, then you are going to struggle financially. But those who are able to have financial breakthroughs, to create financial fortresses for their family, to fortify them, to recession-proof their business, are those who have gotten extremely comfortable with selling, because they realize that selling is service. Selling is the very skill that allows you to impact other people's lives and create value for others that didn't exist before. So learn to sell and learn to sell well, and it will make a big difference in your life. And then the third skill is selling. The fourth skill is leadership. Leadership is when I say leadership, that is on a scale from 1 to 10, rate yourself. What is your ability to be able to influence a team, to be able to cast a vision, to see how the future can be better than the present? What is your ability to delegate, to involve other people in your mission, in the objectives that you have to work towards goals. I remember a definition I heard about leadership. What is leadership? I really liked it. Leadership is your ability to focus the attention of others towards a desired outcome in the future. Leadership is your ability to focus the attention of others to a desired outcome in the future. So how well are you at being able to focus people's attention to create culture in a team, in a group, in an organization? A culture that is linked together by shared values. Because this is what's going to be required in order to be able to make a difference in others. So it starts with being faithful in that which is least, then you'll be able to be faithful so much. I realized it was in 2014 when I was a solopreneur, and that's some rough stuff, where when I needed a website for speaking, I figured out how to build a website, and it didn't look great. It was black and white. It was kind of honky, and it was draining. It took a lot of energy. And if I needed to know how to edit videos, I would edit videos, and I would put it together, record something, and edit it, and it was rough. There's some rough stuff, and it's like someone would call, I would be answering all of the calls, and it was just, there was a lot going on. So that was a time. And then I remember my mom, she came to me, she's like, hey, Enoch, you're doing way too much. What you're doing should be a team. It takes a team to be able to build a dream. And teamwork makes a dream work. She's like, you need to build a team. I'm like, why would anybody want to work with me? And this is interesting. So I was thinking, I hated video editing so much that the thought that there would be someone that exists out there who enjoys editing videos sounds so foreign and like a myth to me. It's like finding Bigfoot. I was like, how is that going to happen? But she's like, go find them. They exist. So that is I started to build a team and start studying leadership development since 2014. And sure enough, people started to come. There are people who absolutely love editing videos, even to a point there was one time I was working with a video editor, and I was sharing with him different ways that he could minimize his editing or minimize and to be able to produce some things faster. But he kept editing it more and over editing, and I'm just like, why? What are you doing? It's like, why do you keep editing? I'm showing you how you could do it without that. He's like, well, I like editing, and the realization is there are people who absolutely love doing what you hate. There are people who are energized, who are excited to do the thing that drains you. What your skill, you want to surround yourself with those people and play to your strength and outsource your weakness. Learn to delegate, learn to involve other people, and quit thinking that you're the only person who can do it. It is ego it is pride that comes up and says, well, if it's going to be done right, let me do it myself. And it is short-sightedness, it's poverty thinking to think, well, if I want to get it done faster, let me do it by myself. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So sometimes what I've learned in the last 8 years of having a team is that sometimes you have to slow down so you can go faster, so you can go farther in a way that lasts. Otherwise, you're going to be going full speed ahead, and it's like you're running on a hamster wheel, juggling plates and spinning plates, and things you have so much on your plate that the things start to crash. They collide, and it's like you're going really fast, going nowhere, real fast. And it is such a difficult place to be. You get exhausted, you get drained. The truth of the matter is business is a team sport. Business is not something to do by yourself. Surround yourself with people who love doing what you hate. And that's why I believe, on another note, we're talking about high income skills. One of the reasons why you want to have high income is because that income is the result of people's lives that you impacted. So the more money that you make represents people that you've been able to serve. I believe that the desire to just have enough money to be comfortable, it's like, oh, I don't want too much money. I just want enough to be comfortable. I just want enough to provide for myself and meet some of my needs. I believe the desire to make just enough money to be comfortable is one of the most selfish desires that can exist, because I don't want just enough for me to be comfortable. I want enough to provide for others. I want more than enough for my needs. I want enough to provide for the needs of others, to help, to contribute to causes I care about, to be able to provide for the needs and wants of others, to employ other people, to build a team, to develop leaders. See, our company has a team of 8 people, locally and virtually. And with our team, it allows us to be able to serve you at a higher level. It allows us to be able to record better videos, to be able to service people, to solve more problems, bigger problems, and providing for the wants and needs of others. It's because of the surplus. It's not just having enough to be comfortable for my own wants and needs, but it's because of having more than enough of what I would want. Like my wants and needs, they're fairly low. My expenses, like the things that I desire and enjoy in life, they don't require much, but I continue to earn more and make more to provide for the wants and needs of others. That excites me, to be able to give to others and to share and to contribute. So that desire to just have enough, I think, is one of the most selfish desires we can have. So that's why it's good to learn high income skills, so you could lift the limits of your income and to be able to give and to have more and have abundance. Jesus said in John 10:10, I came that you might have life and have life more abundantly. So these are some of the skills that will create abundance regardless of how the economy is doing and regardless of what the competition's doing. Learning these skills are going to create income as a rule, not the exception to the rule. So leadership. Leadership is a skill of influence. Leadership is your ability to lead a team. So what are you on a scale from 1 to 10? 1 is like, no way, Jose, I don't have that. 10 is mastery. You can execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. That you are able to create a desire in others to follow your lead. And if you are a leader, if you are someone who, like, a leader is those who are able to create desires in others to follow them. And if you don't have people following your example, then you are not a leader, you're just going for a walk. There's a big difference. So what's your leadership skill on a scale from 1 to 10? Now, the 5th skill is this is your skill of being able to write persuasively on pages. Your ability to use the written word to turn your words into wealth, to be able to speak. It's the words that you're able to say in a persuasive manner to lead people to make a decision, to see your vision, to take action now. This is the skill that's called copywriting. Copywriting is being able to write words that sell, write words that inspire action, write words that lead to buying decisions. How is your ability? Like, this is literally every email that you write is going to be copywriting. Copy means persuasion. Writing is the words. So it's the words that persuade, whether that's the emails that you send out. How is your copywriting? Whether it's the words that you put on your website, on your sales websites, your sales pages, or sales funnels. It's the words that you're putting there, the captions that you write in social media posts, in the descriptions, in the comments, how you're communicating with people. It's what you speak in the DMs, in the private messages. When you're interacting with people, people can tell what you're, like, how you're speaking and what you're speaking and whether they want to do business with you. It's when you speak, do you speak with energy? Do you speak with enthusiasm? Do you arouse in others an eager want to follow you, to be able to take advantage of your offer? Learning copywriting is a high income skill. You could easily make $10,000 a month by understanding how to write copy and how to write it well. and how to write emails that lead to income. This is literally being able to turn your communications into cash, how to turn your words into wealth. These are the abilities that as you learn how to write copy, and when you find a mentor who's able to help show you understand the principles of copywriting, having structures, like being a student, being a super student of how persuasive words are written. There's structures to it. Did you know that there's patterns that produce prosperity? When you understand the patterns of copy, you realize that copywriting is actually very simple to do. And at the beginning, it feels complicated just because you haven't learned to recognize the patterns yet. But once you identify the patterns, then it's smooth sailing from there. Then it's just plug and play, and you'll find that you'll be able to persuade people again and again. So your ability to write headlines that hook people's attention, that makes people want to pay attention, to listen, to lean in, to learn more. This is, I would even say that often the foundation of copywriting is headlines. When you learn how to craft compelling headlines, if this is a new skill, copywriting is a new skill you want to develop, learn to craft really compelling headlines, titles, hooks, because once you get really good at that sentence, it's the basic building block of all copywriting, because paragraphs are built by these, like a headline is just like a sentence or a phrase. So once you understand language patterns and phrases that persuade, phrases that sell, then you'll be able to, a paragraph is just simply a list of phrases that persuade, that sell, just a list of phrases. So master the basic building blocks, focus on the fundamentals, master that headline, and you'll find that all of your copy starts to improve. All your emails become more persuasive. All your sales pages, your websites start making more sense and start increasing the conversions. Learn how to learn how to use copywriting, and it is a skill that will pay for itself. And copywriting is often a one-to-many opportunities where you can communicate to crowds online. So that is the fifth skill is a skill of copywriting. Now, what's the sixth skill? The sixth skill is digital marketing. Digital marketing has been responsible for making more millionaires in the last few years than all the other years combined. Digital marketing is opening up opportunities where, as long as you have a phone, you have the ability to be able to communicate to others, to create contents. When you look at marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is your ability to hook people's attention, to grab their attention and communicate your message to the masses. And your speaking, it's intentional, because the education that you're providing for your audience is education that's overcoming limiting beliefs that would limit buying behaviors. You're helping to overcome objections that would prevent people from accepting what you have to offer or purchasing a sale. See, marketing is a high income skill. Marketing is the cash creators in any business. Sales and marketing combined are potent, powerful abilities. So digital marketing is things like social media marketing, Facebook marketing, YouTube marketing, and the website marketing, content creating. This is where many entrepreneurs go south, and they make a lot of mistakes that could be costing you a fortune. Is that you're creating content based on what you're passionate about talking about. You're creating content on what you're excited about, but the marketplace isn't passionate about paying you for it. So the difference is, like, when it comes to content creation, all content creation isn't content marketing. Stop creating content and don't be a content creator, be a content marketer, because there's a big difference. A content marketer will use these digital platforms to speak a message that moves the multitudes closer to a sale. When you learn to be intentional with your content, intentional with what's the action that you want people to take afterwards, then you're able to teach people, and it helps create buying beliefs in helping others to take advantage of what you have to offer. And this is a skill that can pay you well in proportion to your mastery, is in proportion to your ability to monetize these skills. Digital marketing can make you a fortune. Now the seventh, the last, but I would submit to you, is the most essential, the most powerful, the most life-transforming, determining factor. Like, you can have all these other skills above, but if you're missing this skill, then it doesn't matter. They're not going to work for you. This is what I would call emotional mastery. Emotional mastery, energy management, emotional management, however you want to describe this. When you learn to master your emotions, you will be able to unlock your potential that you don't now imagine. For instance, what is emotional mastery look like? This is your ability to overcome procrastination. How do you respond when you're faced with disappointment? What questions you ask yourself in your mind when you're starting a new project? Are you constantly asking these lousy questions that lead to limiting beliefs and limit your behavior? Like, what if I do all this work and it doesn't work? Lousy question. It's going to drain you. Do you constantly project failure as you go forward? This is your mindset. This is because if the thoughts are wrong, the feelings will be wrong. And the thoughts and the feelings combined, they make up your identity. It's how you perceive that you are. Do you discipline your disappointments by trading your expectation for appreciation? Do you have enthusiasm? Have you learned how to create enthusiasm, to move forward and do those things with enjoyment? The things that used to be, while your competitors are struggling to do what needs to be done, you are excited and enjoying the process. Your ability to use your minds, your questions, your focus in a way that creates feelings of empowerment to be able to go forth and to serve at a high level. Because emotion, like when you look at emotion, what is emotion? Emotion is emotion. That literally is energy in motion. So emotion is simply energy. And when you learn to master your energy levels, this allows you to create momentum in your life. Business is very much so a momentum game. You want to learn what are those things that multiply your momentum. And while you get this, you want to stay in momentum. And momentum is an object in motion, stays in motion unless acted upon by another force. So as you're learning these skills, you want to gain momentum in these skills. Learning to master your emotions and being able to change your emotions, to be able to shift them in a way that can help you to show up, to serve, and to be able to serve at a high level. Because you can have all the right skill set, but if your mindset is lousy, you won't even be able to apply that skill set. Because it's when mindsets plus skill sets together with the right tool set, whether that's a software, apps, or technology, the mindset plus skill set with the right tool sets equals assets. Assets are the result of your mindset, skill set, and tool set. These are income producing assets. These are assets that allow you to produce income in your sleep. This is because in our business, we have created assets that are able to work without us, to work one-to-many and serve people because we've learned these skills of leadership, of building teams, of selling, of communicating to crowds. This is what has allowed my family to be able to have income-producing assets that are able to create income on autopilot, that provides our expenses, that is able to fund travels and exploring the world, to be able to invest in mentorship, invest in masterminds, in coaching programs, going to events to continue to skill up, to learn more, to understand more of how can we serve our clients at the highest level? How can we serve the students who we're helping to scale their businesses? These are the income producing assets, is what allows you to build the life of your dreams, to build the business, that these assets of delivering value to people in a way that is incredible. And it is an income producing asset that has helped me to be making $10,000 a month in my early 20s and be able to do what I do today. So what I recommend to you is learn these high income skills. There's 7 of them. And I want you to first comment below, if you are brave, what are the, on a scale from 1 to 10, what is your number? What's your number? There's nothing wrong with the numbers. There's nothing wrong with where you are. It's important to be honest with where you are, because that honesty will allow you to see where you are now and where you want to be. Think of it like a GPS. If a GPS works where you have a destination that you desire to end up with, but let's say you are trying to go to the grocery store, for instance. So you have the destination, you have the address, but there's only one problem. You don't have an accurate starting point. If you put in your GPS in a starting point that is on another part of the city or another part of where you are, and it's giving you instructions, none of those steps will matter at all to you. It is only valuable when you start with the right coordinates, when you start with the correct assessment of where you are today, and be brutally honest, because it's not about being to the destination immediately or right now. It doesn't have to be like that. What it is being honest with where you are, so you can see what are the accurate steps of being able to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And when you learn how to assess yourself, self-awareness is the first step of true development. Being aware and honest with your level of leadership, your level of emotional mastery, your level of selling, and your level of public speaking. This is going to be the differentiators between those who find real progress and growth in their business and their life, and those who stay stuck in the muck, and it's hard for them to get out of that. It's because they're not being honest with where they are. So I challenge you, go through these 7 steps and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you? And see, what could you do? What could you do to cultivate these skills, to develop these skills? This is why, can I get a book, please? This is why when you learn these skills, they're going to take care of you. Thank you. And what it is it's like learning to guard your focus. Your focus is the one thing that you have that is going to dictate the skills that you acquire, the skills that you learn to develop, and then staying in the same place that you are a year from now, 3 years from now, and find that nothing changes. So learning to, like what I would submit to you, one of my first millionaire mentors, Lynn Hagedorn, she said something that I never forgot. She was saying, guard your focus as you would guard a $1 million briefcase, because it is your focus that is going to create that $1 million. It's your focus that will develop those skills that will help you to serve people at a higher level, to add that value that if you want to increase your income, you need to increase the impact that you're having in the marketplace. And this is why I wrote this book. I Want to Mentor, Now What Do I Do? In my best-selling book, I teach you how to master high income skills in half the time. How? By learning to meet master mentors, to maximize your mentorships, so that when you invest in a course or a coaching program, and people are investing these like $30,000 to be in coaching programs, $50,000 to be in masterminds, and more, and yet they haven't learned how to learn. It's like in school you're taught what to learn, but when was the last time you read a book on how to learn? When was the last time that you learned this skill of being able to multiply your mentorships, to be able to turn that information into income in the shortest time period possible? This book is specifically designed for authors, coaches, speakers, and other high-level entrepreneurs to help you to multiply your income, to master these high-income skills, so that if you're interested in getting onto the road to mastery and changing your life for the better and the lives of many people and bring many people with you as possible, I encourage you to grab a copy of my book. What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you a free copy of this book. I'll cover the book. You just pay for the cost of shipping, and we'll send it out to you. Just tell us where to send it to you, and I want to gift you with this book because I am excited to see you succeed. I really find joy in seeing other entrepreneurs to be able to fulfill their God-given assignment in the marketplace. I want to help you, whether it's building the team, whether it's learning to sell, whether it's learning to speak in public in a way that causes people to take action. I want to help you on that journey. And this is one of the best steps to get you started. If you're interested, go to the website iwantamentorbook.com. Just tell me where to ship it, iwantamentorbook.com, and I would be happy to get you a copy. I'll cover the book, you cover the cost of shipping, and it's yours. So if you like this, then I want to thank you for your time, your attention, and I look forward to being able to serve you more in the future. And remember, friends, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called.